Emprendedores latinos en Miami. El día de hoy estamos con mi amigo Nick, que nos va a hablar de cómo construyó su tienda de Amazon aquí en la ciudad de Miami. Él se compró este carrito que anda a pie con su tienda de Amazon y nos va a contar cómo a sus 24 años logró consolidar un negocio que le diera el estilo de vida que él siempre quiso. No se pierdan el capítulo y nos vemos en la cima. Emprendedores latinos en Miami. Raised in Miami.
So I was born in Ecuador.
What's your business about, like your main business today?
I just resell products on Amazon. Pretty much,
So how's growing up in Miami like?
you're walking around, you see Lamborghinis, you see a bunch of just like supercars, you see people with money exposed to like a lot of stuff in Miami because you're like 17, 18, best month in sales.
Yeah.
That was December, I did 185.
What's like the craziest product you have like sell on the list on Amazon?
Craziest product? A vibrator.
Emprendedores latinos en Miami. El día de hoy estamos con mi amigo Nick, que él construyó su negocio de Amazon aquí en la ciudad de Miami. Él es súper joven, 24 años, maneja su McLaren, que se lo compró de su tienda de Amazon. Y el día de hoy nos va a contar cómo es su emprendimiento, que él viene desde Latinoamérica, desde muy joven, y logró crear su negocio aquí en la ciudad de Miami. Vamos a hacer el episodio, en este caso en inglés. Nick se le facilita más en inglés. Yo sé que los que me escuchan, algunos también hablan en inglés. No se lo pierdan, Emprendedores latinos en Miami. Nick, qué gusto que estés acá, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Tell us, I mean, you're here in Miami, right? But
Yeah.
you were born here. I mean, are you like raised in Miami, or you came here when you were like grown up or something?
So I was born in Ecuador and I was raised here in Miami. So I came here from Ecuador at 3 years old with my mom, my sisters, my ex stepdad at the time, and from there we came here, and I'm pretty much a first generation U.S. citizen.
Awesome. So how old were you? Like very young?
Yeah, I came here at 3, but I was raised here. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school. I did it all in Miami.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so I lived the Miami lifestyle.
In Spanish, we would say Miamero. Yeah, Miamero. Hey, so how's growing up in Miami? Like a lot of people like me and maybe my audience or other people that I have invited to my podcast, they grown up in Latin America and they moved to the US like to build a business. But in your case, it's different because
Yeah.
you were born, I mean, not born, but raised here after
Yeah.
you were born. So how's like growing up in Miami?
So I do have a perspective because from 6 to 8 years old, I had to go back to Ecuador to live there because there was some paper stuff that I couldn't work out. So I was forced to go back and live there for 2 years. So I was able to see the difference, the opportunities, because when I went back there was not a lot of opportunities. You didn't really hear about starting a business. You didn't hear about what you could accomplish in life. It was just like school, military, and then hopefully you get a good small corporate job. Like I didn't even understand. Like it didn't make sense to me. There was no like clear path of opportunities of what I could do. But school in Ecuador, you're actually a year ahead. So when I came back to the US, I had to go a year back. Like everybody was learning, what was it? They were learning, just starting to learn multiplications. I was already doing fractions. So I had to go back and like dumb myself down a bit. But growing up in Miami,
But you were a step ahead.
yeah, I was
Always step ahead.
yeah, pretty much everyone thought I was a genius. I'm like, I'm not a genius. I was already taught this. Like, but it's funny. But growing up in Miami, honestly, super crazy. You just live, you understand like the fast lifestyle. Like at a very young age, you have girls that are like 15 going to the club, guys who are very young starting to make a lot of money. And then you also get exposed to like a lot of stuff in Miami because you're like 17, 18, you're walking around, you see Lamborghinis, you see a bunch of just like supercars, you see people with money, and none of them talk about school. They don't talk about like working a job. They talk about like starting a business. And then you get to understand that there's something out there that you could do as well. So because of that, in the beginning, it was a little hard because you're exposed to a lot of things at a young age that, you know, you shouldn't be, right? Like you're very young, like a lot of like club stuff, partying. It's very crazy growing up. But once you get used to it, you start understanding like the potential of business and how you can make money. So you can really make Miami out of whatever you want. If you want to just party, you can. But you could just do just business. Yeah.
Awesome. And what part of Miami like were you raised? Because this is like the newest, fanciest side of Miami.
Yeah, this is not Miami.
Yeah, yes, it's like a new side of Miami,
Yeah.
right? But
So I was moved around a lot. So I started being raised in Coral Gables. Then I moved to Homestead for a little bit, like 2 years. My ex stepdad bought a house there during 2009.
there's a lot of
2010.
Latino concentration, right, in Homestead.
Yeah, a lot, a lot. Mexicans. We were probably the only Ecuadorians there, to be honest. But we moved to Homestead, and then I ended up moving back to Coral Gables. Then I moved to Kendall. Then I moved to Coconut Grove. So I was raised pretty much all around. I got to see like different areas. I never really went to Brickell a lot until I was like much older, like much older.
Yeah,
Probably-
but Brickell was built like 6 years ago, right? Maybe
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I mean, you have Wynwood that was Overtown like 10 years ago. Like,
And it wasn't like today's Wynwood, right?
no, bro,
It was,
you wouldn't want to go there. You would go there and get stabbed.
it was like ghetto style
Yeah.
neighborhood in Miami.
Yeah.
Hey, so what's your business about? Like your main business today?
Yeah, so I just resell products on Amazon. Pretty much, I find products that are already listed on Amazon that already sell a lot, and I try to find those products from websites and retail stores for cheap, using coupons, discounts when there's a flash sale. You could also buy them from distributors, wholesale suppliers. So I buy them for cheap and I sell them on Amazon, and I don't have to create a listing. There's already a listing created for me with thousands of reviews. I don't have to upload a picture. I don't have to think about marketing, running any advertisements on the listings. Those listings are already doing well. I just have to find them for cheaper and pretty much put them on that listing. I ship it out to Amazon, and then Amazon ships it out to the customers for me. So I do Amazon FBA.
FBA, awesome. So there's like people wanting to know how Amazon works and how
Yeah.
Amazon. Even when I met you, I told you like you're I asked for like selling your products, and like he told me, no, I run zero ad spend. And how can you sell a product with zero? I mean, is their dream of marketer? Like,
Yeah, a lot of people think that. I would say you could do ads, but then you have to create your own listing. But what I do is very simple. I don't have to do that. So these are everyday products. Like, everyone's always gonna buy some Nike shoes. It depends on like the season, right? Like la temporada. You have your beauty products like Dove shampoo, soaps.
so your business is about finding opportunities of already positioned products below market price.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're buying it at a much cheaper price, like wholesale price, and we're selling it for full price, retail price, to consumers. So I use websites. I pretty much 90% of my business is from buying cheaper on websites, and then the other 10% is from distributors. I always recommend starting off buying from retail stores. I start off buying from like Dolphin Mall, Ross.
Like brick and mortar stores.
Yeah, you just go in and just buy a bunch of products. Like I used to get a U-Haul, go there, and one time I purchased like $14,000 worth of New Balances, put them in the U-Haul, take it to my house, package it, ship it out to Amazon. That's how I started off. So I always recommend starting off with retail stores and websites, because you could return those products. So even though those products, they sell a good amount, if anything happens, you could return the products because you're buying it as a consumer.
Yeah, you can get your money back.
Yeah,
Just-
if anything happens.
Awesome. And how did you start your business? I mean, you started watching some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That is your first business. You have like some prior businesses before that.
So the way I got introduced to entrepreneurship, like my very first business, I was honestly I got into it like no one showed me. Like I had to show myself. I was 16 years old. I kept applying for jobs. I got denied from Publix like 5 times. I even spoke with the manager, and he said like, yeah, you're gonna get hired, and like I never heard anything. So I was 16. I was like, what the hell is happening? I want to make money. Like, why is no one hiring me? And then one thing I always notice is like there's people that fix iPhone screens. I've seen shops, like people like Boost Mobile stores, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
just going like my iPhone screen is broken. So I'm like, what if I just fix iPhone screens? So then I watched a YouTube video. It's 15 minutes long, how to replace an iPhone screen. And I'm like, dude, that's super simple. Like you just have to like unlock the screen out, put a new one in, and then set it up correctly. So I'm like, I think I could do that. I bought a tool set. It was $13. Each iPhone screen was $30. and I was charging people like $80-$90 to fix their iPhone screens. So for like a month and a half, I made like 3,800, $3,600. So that was my first business, and that's because I wasn't able to get a job pretty much. Like I wanted to find a way to make money. No one was helping me, so I'm like, shit, let me just find a way myself.
You made a job for yourself.
Pretty much like fixing iPhone screens. So that was my first business. But how I started learning about Amazon, I was honestly tired of my job. Like literally the same exact story. I was tired of my job because I asked for a promotion and it ended up getting denied after like working there for almost 2 years.
But what job?
So I was working in software sales at a company called Kaseya, which is
Okay.
here in Berkeley.
Yeah.
So they sell IT software, and I was coming in like on time, working long hours, training people, helping other people do their thing, like trying to motivate people, doing my thing, like,
Yeah.
as a corporate job. I asked for a promotion, and the vice president accepted it. They're like, "Yeah, you're good. Like, I think you deserve it. Just talk to your manager." And I talked to my manager. No, I ended up not talking to my manager. So then my manager, he's like, "Oh, we need to have a quick meeting." He's like, "Oh, why are you going to the vice president, like going around me, asking for a promotion?" I'm like, "Dude, like I thought we were good. Like I thought I could just talk to him and then talk to you, like, because he was busy." And he's like, "No, like you're not gonna get the promotion." So then after that, I'm like, "What?" Like I just spent like almost 2 years of my life trying to help, the company. Like it's not my company. I'm making them money. So after that, I'm like, okay, I know I'm smart enough. This isn't like hard. I've done this before. Let me go ahead and start my own business. Max, who's actually my business partner, he's also a 7-figure Amazon seller. He was doing Amazon a year and a half before me. He was going to the retail stores like Dolphin Mall, Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, just doing it at a very small scale, buying the products, taking it to his house, prepping it, shipping it out to Amazon. I'm like, dude, let me just do what you're doing, to be honest. He explained to me he doesn't create a brand, he doesn't create a listing. So I'm like, that sounds super simple. Like, I feel like I could do that. So started learning with him, started doing my own research online, and
And
that's
how
how it
to
started.
find out good listings that sell well?
So there's different strategies. I use one software called Keepa, and Keepa shows how much a listing sells per month. It shows the price of that product throughout the years, right? Like when the listing was created, like the last 3 years, 5 years. And when you see it's a good listing, all you literally have to do is Google search that product. Like if it's that simple. Like I promise you. Like it's not. A lot of people overcomplicate. They're
What's
like they use this word called market research.
market research?
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah, I'm like, no, dude, just go on Google and just try to find the product. Because that's what I do. Like, if you find a Nike hoodie, search up that same exact Nike hoodie on Google, and then you're going to see Nike hoodies that are cheaper. And maybe you could find one that's like much, much cheaper than the one on Amazon. And then you go there, you try to see if there's any coupons, discounts. There's a bunch of different ways to lower the price of the product, even discounted gift cards. So that's what I do. Pretty much, I Google search it and try to find it for cheaper, buy it, and sell it on that listing.
But you sell it to the guy who owns the listing, right? Or
Yeah, so the person there's no one really that owns the listing. There's a listing where anyone could jump in and be a third-party seller.
okay,
So
but who managed the listing? I mean, who set up the picture and the product description and
so
the
it's
SKU?
the person who did that is most likely the brand. Now there's third-party sellers that do create the listings, and then other people could jump on, but that I never do because that person could kick you off the listing. But the people who create the listings is mostly the brand. It's mostly the brand, the rights owner that pretty much has some sort of association with that brand that created the listing on Amazon years ago.
Oh,
And that's all they did.
and it kept going.
Yeah, but other people could jump on it pretty much.
What's the simplest product you have seen on a list?
Ooh,
Like-
bro, like Puma slides.
Full lights,
Like I'm telling you, like it's
the most
every-
basic product you have seen.
most
was-
basic product. Toothpaste,
to just like that.
Arm & Hammer toothpaste. Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
is
bought it cheaper on Target.
cheaper. For how much did you buy it? And for how much did you sold it?
So I bought a 6-pack on Target, and it was a listing on Amazon that was selling a single unit. So I think the 6-pack was like $12 or something. No, actually no, tripping. It was probably like $8. So it was less than $2 for a single one, and then the single one was selling for $7 on Amazon. So I bought a 6-pack
For 12.
and I broke it up and I grabbed one and sold on that listing on Amazon. I
Wow.
sold just one, yeah.
And how can you do that on volume? I mean, how can you like achieve volume in that type of business?
Yeah, so that's a really good question because like at one point you want to learn how to delegate. So there's different ways, right? I talked about like you doing it yourself, like you shipping it to your house, doing all the work, but eventually as a business owner, you don't want to do that forever, at least.
Yeah.
You want to get someone to do it. So you could partner up with a prep center or a fulfillment center. So with a prep center or fulfillment center, you could ship the product to them and they'll handle all the prepping, all the shipping, and
They're responsible for the quality of the prep, right?
everything. We have our own prep center, fulfillment center, and our mission statement is don't even think about prepping, storing, or shipping your products because that's our job. Like your job is to literally try to find more products, build a business, get more money, and that's it. Like we should handle the rest. So when you work with a really good prep center, a fulfillment center, which you could Google, like there's a bunch of them out there, they will do everything for you. That's their job.
Awesome. And you do that now.
Yeah, so when I started to because what happened with me when I first started, like when I started with Max, my first week I did 1,200 in sales, and then for me it was like, oh wow, like this actually works. So then what I ended up doing was I got a lot of different business credit cards. So I got 50K with Chase, 10K and another 10K with Amex. I got like around 90K in business credit cards. So I used all that to buy a bunch of products, and the credit cards at 0% interest. So I was able to just use all that, buy a bunch of products, keep it compounding.
Yeah.
I did have to pay the debt back so fast, but it was a lot of products. So I'm like, I can't prep this all myself. So my next thing was I partnered up with a prep center, and instead of me shipping it, I would go to the retail stores, right? And I would drop it off at a prep center here in Miami, and they would ship it out to Amazon. And then when I would buy from websites, instead of shipping it to my house, I would ship it to a prep center that's in a sales tax-free state. Because if you ship it to Florida, you're paying 7%.
Yeah, 7%.
But if you ship it to Montana or Delaware or New Hampshire is where our fulfillment center is. If you ship it over there, it's 0% sales tax. So you're saving on sales tax and your margins are, you're making more money.
It's like the craziest product you have like sell on the list on Amazon.
Craziest product?
Yeah.
A vibrator.
You sold a vibrator on
I sold a
Amazon
vibrator, yeah.
or a bunch of them.
A bunch. So there's some vibrators that sell 2,000 units a month,
Whoa.
and they sell for over $100.
And how much can you buy them for?
I mean, as much as the distributor has. The distributor had 158, I think. I bought them all.
And there's a good margin?
Yeah, so the vibrators were like $45, and I was selling them for like $101, $102.
That's a nice margin. That's a 2x on the cost of the product.
Yeah, I mean, but there's fees. Amazon collects fees. So that's another thing.
That's their business, right?
They collect 15%
Well,
on the sale, on
the
the revenue.
yeah.
So those guys, they're eating. So
Yeah, they own the platform.
yeah,
What's the
a lot of
margins?
money.
What does the margin looks like on Amazon?
Amazon?
Yeah.
So I've been in the space for like almost 2 years now, and I've seen different models. So if you're buying from websites, which is called online arbitrage, your margins are actually on average higher than if you're buying from distributors. So my margins are around right now are like 20, 21%. But if you buy from wholesale, they start going down, because what happens with wholesale is you're building a relationship with suppliers, distributors. So right off the bat, they're not going to give you a lot of discounts. They have had people that have spent millions or hundreds of thousands with them that are always going to get the best pricing. So in the beginning, you're not going to get the best pricing, but you're building that relationship, that long-term potential of then getting better pricing. So when you first start wholesale, they start going down to like the 8 through 15% margin. But when you get really good at wholesale, that's where you could be around like the 15 through 20% margin.
Yeah, which would be a better margin.
And that's after like warehouse, employees, like everything, like net
Like net margin.
Mhm.
Okay, so are you like the solopreneur? Do you got a business partner with you?
Yeah. So for my own Amazon store, I own 100% equity of my own Amazon store. But I have a business partner, Max. Him and I, we own the fulfillment center and the prep center. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. And you see your business like as doing arbitrage or also consulting? Because there's a lot of people wanting to like to build Amazon store or wanting
Yeah.
to do FBA. Would you do that or just like keep doing arbitrage?
So I think doing both combined is good. I wouldn't. So we ourselves, we've taught a lot of people how to sell on Amazon.
Sure.
We have around like 145 students, but I first didn't want to do it.
Oh, you got 145 students.
Yeah, we have our own
Awesome.
Amazon community. We have 145 students. We've taught a lot of them. Like we've had around like 14 people just quit their jobs and do Amazon full time. But in the beginning, I didn't want to do it, to be honest. I did it because I was like very like selfish, greedy. I'm like, why would I tell them a business that they're gonna find my products and then I can't sell them? And I had this very scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
But then when I started thinking about it, I was like, bro, Amazon has over 100 million different products and they sell 16 billion a day. Like I would need to have like billions of dollars to buy all the products myself. Like I don't have that much money. Like nowadays I spend way more I pretty much sometimes over leverage the amount of money I could use to buy products. So there's more products out there than I have money to buy. So me teaching people that, first of all, most people that you teach, they're not going to do well. It's a business. Like you have to be realistic.
Like a restaurant or whatever type of business. I mean,
There's a fail rate.
it's a fail rate.
Yeah. People could mess up and not do it. Or some people don't even care. They're like, yeah, all motivated, excited, and they do nothing.
Yeah, motivation and then
Like, oh, I actually have to put in work and watch videos and find products and buy stuff. Like, I thought I was just going to be, no, like you have to do something. So I started thinking about that. And then thinking about like, it doesn't really affect me because there's more products than I could buy. And then also when you build a community of like-minded individuals and you're like sort of like the leader in a way, it's very powerful. Very powerful.
wow. And in your time being in the business, do you have like any story that is like any challenge, like and the most difficult part of your business?
Yeah. So there's several challenges I've had to go through. So one of them was, I said you have to buy you can buy discounted gift cards to lower the price of a product. So I was buying from Under Armour, and I've never bought from Under Armour website. So when you buy from websites and you first buy from a website, you shouldn't go crazy and buy a bunch of orders because, websites let you do that. They let you place a lot of orders, but if they've never seen your account before, they could cancel your orders. So what I did is I bought $14,000 worth of gift cards, and I made $14,000 worth of purchases with the gift cards. All the orders got canceled.
Whoa.
All of them. So when they arrived to my house, I pretty much had to return everything. So with the gift cards, I got stuck with the gift cards. The money went back into the gift cards, and I had two options. Either sell the gift cards for a loss, which I should have done immediately, or go to the retail store and buy Under Armour inventory.
With the
gift cards.
with the gift cards.
I went to Under Armour, bought inventory, which is pretty good. But then I found out that like pretty much almost everything I couldn't sell.
Whoa.
Because Under Armour is one of those rare brands that you could sell some listings and then some listings you can't sell.
You can't.
Cannot.
You can't publish that product.
Like you can sell some shirts, but some shoes you cannot sell. So after I bought everything, I took it to the prep center. The prep center is like, yo, you like pretty much 90% of the stuff you can't sell. I'm like, what? So I had to go to the prep center, pick it up, and return it to the retail store.
You get credited back to the gift cards.
To the gift cards. But let me tell you, one thing is to like, in your head, you're like, yeah, like you just go there, pick it up, and return it. Like, no, we had to organize it by receipt. We had to go to different Under Armour stores. We had to go to the one in Sawgrass and in Dolphin Mall. And my house was in Brickell. So I had to drive to
a lot of time lost.
Yeah. It was terrible. Like a lot of money and time lost. And
Pain in the ass.
yeah, and then now when I got the money back in the gift cards, some of the money didn't get back in the gift cards because it was very hard organizing everything. I wasn't even able to return everything because it was very hard to organize. I got the money back in the gift cards, and then I had to sell the gift cards for a loss.
Whoa.
So all that was like a humongous waste of time. And then also when I worked with a prep center, that wasn't good. So I worked with a prep center. I shipped them out, I think like $23,000 worth of inventory, and they left it in the back for a month. They forgot about the inventory. So I was checking my Excel sheet, like where I keep track of all my products, you know, like when I bought them all out, I see $23,000 worth of product that are not listed on my Amazon store. I'm like, dude, what the hell happened? Like I hit up the prep center. They took a week to answer via email, a week. When they answered me, they're like, oh yeah, it's here in the back. I'm like, no shit, it's in the back. Do something with it. Like, and they're like, oh, we forgot about it. Sorry. I didn't get compensated for that at all.
Yeah, because it's a loss for you because you're not selling your products.
That's a loss, but like they didn't do anything. They're just like, oh, sorry, oops. I tried to sue them, but my lawyer was like, oh, like it wouldn't be worth it because it would be like $20,000, like to set up everything, like the lawyer, the case, all that stuff. I'm like, all right, bro.
Yeah, sometimes it's not worth. I mean,
Yeah. So because of that is why we started doing a prep center also. There's a lot of fulfillment prep centers that just don't deliver. They overpromise and underdeliver by a lot.
wow.
Sometimes mess up, and that can mess up your Amazon store too.
You need to watch out for that for prep centers.
You could get deactivated. It's just
Deactivated?
You could, because if you ship like the wrong items and
course,
you
people-
keep doing that over and over, Amazon's gonna be like, dude, you suck. You shouldn't sell on our platform.
People will be complaining also. So,
Complaints like they received the wrong product, like it's bad, man.
wow.
So if I could have been around more right people, got a mentor, then that would have helped me a lot. I probably would have been like further in life.
You're 24, right? And what car do you drive right now?
McLaren.
McLaren. How did you manage to buy a McLaren at age 24?
So pretty much I made a lot of money from Amazon.
What's the process for buying a McLaren? You go just go to the dealership like a Toyota and hey, I got $100,000. I want a McLaren. And you leave the store, or maybe in 10 years when I'm 26 or whatever. What? Hey, and what would be like a good win in your entrepreneurship time? Like that's a loss. What would be like a good play you have done in the business?
Amazon?
Yeah.
I would say when I applied for those credit cards in the beginning and then spent them on good inventory, because what happened there is my second month I did 63K in sales. So to me, that was like I was able to dial in, focus on one thing, focus on one business, and just ignore all the distractions. I did it correctly. I got the business credit cards. I used it the right way. So to me, that was pretty good. I think that would be it, like the biggest one for sure.
What's like your best months in sales?
Best month in sales?
Yeah.
That was December. I did 185.
Well, this December, I mean, almost a year ago.
Yeah, 185K.
185K in
Yeah.
1 month, December. Yeah, retail, I mean, December is a good month for retail, right?
For when you buy from websites, yeah.
When you buy from websites.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that there's cashback websites, which you get cashback just for buying the product. And some cashbacks are sometimes like 10 through 15% money. And that's not money we put into like how much money we're making from the inventory. That's just like extra money in our bank, in our pockets.
It's like an extra margin.
Yeah, so that month I probably did like, I don't know, I probably got like 6K just from like cashback.
Wow. And what about the expenses of your business? Is it like operating expenses big for doing your business or not much?
So you could have it where it is big, and you could have it where it's very small. So there's two different ways that you could go about like doing Amazon. One is using a prep center, fulfillment center, and the other way is getting your own warehouse. So at one point, it does make sense to get a warehouse if you want to go that route, because a warehouse is a fixed cost. With a prep center, it's a variable cost. Every time you give them a product, they charge you a per unit cost. So if at some point, if you're doing enough volume, then that $2,000 a month warehouse space makes sense. But
Sure.
if you don't know your numbers, if you haven't been doing Amazon for a while, it's a very risky play. So you could have your operational costs where you have a warehouse, you have employees, and that alone is way more than like, a bigger overhead than a prep center where it's pay as you go pretty much.
Yeah.
But aside from that, you also have softwares. One thing we do ourselves in our Amazon store is we have virtual assistants. So these are people, employees that are outsourced like in the Philippines, Pakistan. When you become really good at finding products, you can then get virtual assistants that look for products for you. So every day they're sending you leads like, yo, look at this product, you should buy this product. And when you get that, then that's another overhead, pretty much. Your virtual assistants.
Do you got VAs right now with
I
you?
have 4.
4 virtual assistants.
Yeah, I'm gonna get 2 more.
Now 6.
No, I'm gonna get 6. Yeah,
It's in Pakistan.
yeah, all Philippines.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk like how we met because
Oh,
yeah, that's a crazy story. I was just getting off the gym here in Brickell. I was riding my scooter home and I saw this guy just eating a burger outside McDonald's, sitting down on the front of his McLaren. And I was, what is this guy doing? I mean, you know, the police here in Brickell, they're heavy because
Yeah.
they're like, hey, go and take a parking space or
Yeah.
get out. And you were just chilling there in a burger. I'm approaching what I talk to people randomly here in Miami because there's a lot of entrepreneurial people, like business people.
Mhm.
And I told her, hey, so what's going on? My question here is, how old are you first?
24.
You're 24, right?
Yeah.
And what car do you drive right now?
McLaren.
McLaren. How did you manage to buy a McLaren at age 24?
So pretty much I made a lot of money from Amazon, and we do what's called rounds of funding. So we help people get capital with 0% interest, business credit cards. And I was gonna do my own round of funding, which was in January. So I already had around I had a little bit over 100 in cash, like cash. So I'm like, okay, I also want to be able to market myself better, build a good personal brand, but I want to keep growing my Amazon store. So when I had the cash, it was either I could put it more towards inventory or go get the McLaren. I ended up using that to get the McLaren, but I only did that because I applied for a bunch of other credit cards, and I got like 100K and 0% interest credit cards. So it was like I spent with the McLaren, but I still had other funds that I could use for my Amazon store.
Well, that's a good
Yeah.
play. That's a good play.
And the thing is, like, when you get credit cards, you should only do it every 6 to 8 months. So once you get your credit cards, you can't get credit cards for another 8 months, pretty much. So I was like, okay, either I get the car now or I wait 8 months. I'm like, nah, I think it's time. Like, let me just go get it. Was also a little degenerate, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was playing in Spanish so can
Uh-huh.
my audience can like fully understand because that's a
Okay.
wise financial move. Cuando tú tienes un activo, cuando tú quieres comprar, por ejemplo, un auto, una casa, algo para ti y tú tienes el dinero, hay dos formas de hacerlo. Tú agarras tu dinero y literalmente te lo gastas en eso.
Sí.
Y ya no tienes ni el dinero y tienes el carro, pero no tienes el líquido, o sea, los dólares para comprar más mercancía, no tienes nada.
Sí.
Entonces, ¿qué haces? Abres una línea de crédito por ejemplo, tenías $100,000, abres una línea de crédito por $100,000. Los $100,000 que tienes en efectivo los agarras y te compras el auto. Y tienes $100,000 en equity en tu auto y aparte tienes $100,000 en crédito.
Sí.
Y el crédito es el que utilizas para operar tu negocio y comprar más mercancía.
Ujú.
Y de esa manera tienes el negocio y tienes el auto.
El auto.
So you got
sí.
both.
Y el auto también te hace dinero.
Y el auto te metes ahí.
El marketing, de tu brand y todo eso. I've been able to network with a lot. I've been able to network with a lot of people because of my car. Not
Yeah.
because of like who I am, but literally my car.
Yeah.
Like it has opened a lot of doors. Another thing is, because I got asked this question, like, how much of a return was your car? You could actually put a number on it because I was able to get 2 investors because of my car. So one investor gave me 35,000 and the other one gave me 48,000. So you could actually put a number on how much value a car could bring you. Also, it helped our community because a lot of people, like, they have this stigma of like, oh, that guy, he teaches, something. He teaches a business and he likes to show his car. I'm like, who wouldn't? Like, you have a car, it helps with marketing. It grabs attention, exposure. So that also helped grow the community as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like personal brand and
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean,
So
you also like it.
you also,
Yeah.
yeah, but the thing is, like when I was start talking to you, when we started talking, you sound like a pretty decent, nice, smart guy.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a lot of people with nice cars here in Brickell, mostly in Brickell, and they're like douche, They're
Yeah.
like,
No, I don't like that.
yeah. So that's why like we kept the conversation and we just kept talking about stuff.
Yeah, I don't really know about those people because those people I don't really like to associate with. So I don't know why they act like that. But for me, I'm from Ecuador. So like, there's nothing in Ecuador. Like I came from like when I went back to live 6th grade, because I don't remember how life was when I was 2 years old, 3 years old. 6th grade, there was no air conditioner. Sometimes the water wouldn't work. And the washing machine was like, I don't even understand. It was like a fucking tin can
Oh yeah,
that would break down and like, so I come from that. And then now that's always going to make me humble. Like every time I go around people, I'm never going to be like, oh yeah, my car, like this, like, bro, I used to not have air conditioning.
no air conditioning.
Like, yeah.
Hey, so what piece of advice would you give to the 20-year-old Nick? What piece of
20-year-old
advice?
Nick?
Yeah.
20-year-old Nick, I mean, 20-year-old Nick was not bad because I was able to finance a house at 21.
Oh,
So
wow.
he was pretty on point. I would say be more exposed to what's out there because when I was 20, I was working in the corporate world. I was trying to just work in my job, but I wasn't getting exposed to the right network. I wasn't getting exposed to the right people. One thing I tell people that like I have a younger brother and I tell him like, unless you're being around the right people, be alone. Because I'd much rather be alone than with the wrong people. Because those wrong people are going to bring me down. I'm going to lose money, waste time. So if I could have been around more right people, got a mentor, then that would have helped me a lot. I probably would have been like further in life.
Get the right people.
Be around the right people.
Be around the right.
There's nothing more powerful than being around the right community that wants to do the same thing you're doing. Because then you're going to have to figure it out yourself.
Which is harder.
It's harder, man. Like you want to use whatever makes life easier. If you could be around the right people that know more than you and that you could also provide value with, you guys are going to go even further along, pretty much.
Pretty much. And what piece of advice would you give like to young entrepreneurs? I'm talking like people maybe 16 years old. They're trying like, hey, I want to be a businessman when I grow up, maybe in 10 years when I'm 26 or whatever. What piece of advice would you give to those folks?
So piece of advice, I would really say, honestly, get educated on how the real world works, because it's not just how can I find the business that makes me money and that's it. You need to understand how the world works. What's the IRS? What are taxes? How was the government made? Why is the US works this way? What's insurance? You need to understand like how the world works before you really want to start to get into business. Because what I've noticed is that a lot of people that get into business and they make their money, they don't understand what taxes are. They don't understand how money should be controlled, how to manage your assets, what's a liability, what's not a liability, accounting. So a lot of people, and this happens a lot because I'm here meeting with people, right? I'm seeing a lot of new entrepreneurs make a lot of money real quick, but then they start going down the drain even faster because they don't know how the world works. They don't know how to manage their money. So at 16, 17, honestly, YouTube. Like YouTube, how stuff works. Learn about credits, build your credit. Like just really be educated on life, really, to be honest.
Get educated on life.
Yeah, and then while you're doing that, you're gonna find a business that you like. Because you're getting educated on credit, you're like, wow, I really like credit. I could use, get money to use for this drop shipping. You're gonna find out about drop shipping out of nowhere while you're educating yourself.
Sure. I guess like as young entrepreneurs, they tend to go with the flashy stuff. Oh, that's working, everybody. We should do that, and not getting the hype of like what's trending.
Yeah, they always like to see like what's working, but I mean some stuff is crazy. Like TikTok Shop, right now,
Everybody's talking about it right now.
it's super hype, like, but it works.
Have you done it before?
I'm doing a little bit. I'm drop shipping right now.
Dropshipping on TikTok Shop.
Yeah. So I'm buying from what is that website called? Temu.
Temu, right?
Yeah.
Chinese.
So I'm listing products on Temu on TikTok Shop, and you can list up to 100 listings per day. So I don't run any ads on it. Every time someone buys something, I just buy from Temu, goes to my warehouse, and it gets shipped out to them. But that's like a very short-term business. Just like every other platform, they ban drop shipping one way or another.
Yeah.
Like Amazon did. You have to ship it between like 3 to 5 days. You have to ship it the same day. It has to be delivered 3 to 5 days or 7 days or whatever. TikTok Shop is going to do the same thing. But I want to do my own brand next year.
And TikTok Shop is connected with Amazon, right? And with Temu. Because when you buy directly on that video, What is TikTok Shop for those who don't know?
Yeah.
Because it's fairly new. Even in
Yeah.
Latin America, I think it's not already like
Yeah.
running. So what is TikTok Shop for folks that
Yeah.
don't know?
So TikTok Shop is pretty much a marketplace inside the TikTok platform. So, you know, I don't know if you've ever watched videos and out of nowhere it says like, oh, look at this product. And it shows like a crazy TikTok of it. And then you
Yeah.
could literally buy it right there and then.
Yeah.
That person's selling on TikTok Shop. They have a TikTok Shop account. Now, the thing about TikTok Shop is that you can make a lot of money really fast because they could connect you with affiliates. So they could connect you with people that are influencers that know how to do TikToks, and all you have to give them is a percentage of your sale. So if you create a product, then you could easily market it pretty much like it's kind of like a cheat code because you don't have to market it yourself. You could disperse your product to a bunch of different affiliates and give them all 10-15% of sales, and they're all going to try their hardest to do a good TikTok. If one of those TikToks hit, which you've seen, like some TikToks go really viral, like millions of views.
Yeah.
One of those TikToks hit, they're like 2,000 orders in a day, pretty much.
So they're like organic posts.
Organic post.
You can buy from an organic post.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And what I think is super crazy is being able to buy from a video.
Yeah.
That's like, you cannot make it easier than that. Like you're scrolling, you're like, oh, I like this, press here. It already knows your credit card information.
Just connected to Amazon, right?
So they just did a partnership with Amazon where Amazon's now shipping out the products. But that's all it is. It's still its own thing, TikTok Shop. It doesn't really give Amazon money for anything pretty much. But it's 2 clicks. Like you click that you want it and you click buy it. And then you bought it.
Wow.
You cannot make it easier than that.
Buy from a video.
No one does that.
But it's not like a sponsored video someone paid to TikTok.
No.
Just like organic video, some influencer posted.
Mm-hmm. Like I've seen one example is a luggage. So it's this guy, he just opened the luggage and it was like a bunch of random stuff, like a fire extinguisher, an axe. Like it draws your attention, like, oh, look at this guy. Like he just opened a bag. There's a bunch of random stuff around it. And then it was an advertisement, but in the form of a TikTok. And he's like, oh, airplanes are trying to not help, not make you save money. With this bag, I save a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. If you want this bag, we're running a 40% discount. And then there's like the embedded link where you just press, boom, buy it. That guy, he's done like hundreds of thousands of views for that bag, like that luggage.
What's the process for buying a McLaren? You just go to the dealership like
Yeah.
a Toyota and hey, I got $100,000. I want a McLaren. Do you leave the store or how's it?
No, so here's another thing. I actually bought a course on this.
A course.
Yeah.
A course of buying a McLaren.
Buying exotic cars.
Okay.
So there's this guy, for those of you want to know how to buy a car the right way, search up exotic car hacks. It's this guy named PJ, and he teaches people how to financially buy a supercar the right way, which is called car hacking. So pretty much for you to get a supercar, you need to have comparable car credit. So they need to look at your history on the car loans that you have. So my car loan was a Honda Civic, which for $16,000. So there was no way that I was gonna get approved to get a McLaren, like ever. So, but I ended up making a connection. I was actually in the gym. It's called Boxer here in downtown.
Sure.
And there was a guy from Fresh and Fit, Walter. So he was there. You know Fresh and Fit?
No.
No. Okay. It's like a really big podcast. So he was there, and Max, my business partner, actually went up to him and was like, yo, like, I see you're doing like supercars. Like my friend and I, we want to go like get our first supercars. And he pretty much the next day took us to get our first supercar. And that was just crazy because I was in the gym with them, and then I didn't know I was going to walk out with a McLaren that day. And that's what happened. So he took us to Carrio Motors up in Fort Lauderdale. There we met Jacob, who's like the owner, treated us well, showed us like different options. And from there, we saw the McLaren, like, and then the McLaren that I have is the first supercar that I've ever even been inside, let alone drive. So it's pretty cool. Like the first one I've ever, been inside or drove is like my own. So I test drove it, and I test drove it like a grandpa. I was super scared.
Like,
I was,
opening the doors, sitting.
I was like,
and
dude, what the hell is, yeah, no. And like, just being so low to the ground, like I've never
yeah, because
even
it's
done
like
that. Yeah.
very low to the ground,
Like,
right?
you're like this. I call it an expensive go-kart, pretty much, because that's all it is. It's a very, very expensive go-kart. So when I was there, they saw my comparable car credit, which is a Honda Civic 60, that was $16,000 loan. The way comparable car credit works is they get your previous loan, and depending on the bank, because when you're getting a car loan, it's not the dealership giving to you. It's a financial institution.
Sure.
So you have like your Chase, your TD Bank, your Capital One, your Lamborghini Financial, your Ferrari Financial. So there's a bunch of different financial institutions that will approve you for that loan for that car. Some dealerships have really good relationships with one, so they're able to, work some things out. So Cario had a really good relationship with a financial institution. So because of that, I was able to get the McLaren, but I had to put $54,000 down, which was like the part I was like, damn. Like I didn't even want to, like in my head, I'm like, oh my God. Cause I come from like being very, cheap pretty much. Like I didn't like going out, eating, like, and I'm like, dude, I'm about to drop 54K on a car. And I'm like, wow, like 19-year-old Nick would be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you? But because of that, through relationships, I was able to get approved. But if you're jumping from a Honda Civic or like, I don't know, any car like around that value, from that to like over $100,000 car, you're not going to get approved. Like it doesn't matter the financial statements. If your bank statements show like 200K a month, which this was after Q4, so my last 3 months were pretty large.
Solid. I mean,
Yeah, no, they were like, this looks good, but if you don't have that comparable car credit, you're not going to be able to get that car unless you could buy it cash. If you get lucky through relationships, you're going to have to put a large down payment. But the right way to do it, which is what Exotic Car Hacks like teaches you, is you have to steer step. So you have a $20,000 car. Next car you get $45,000. After that you could get a $90,000 car, $80,000 around there, and then so on and so forth.
you walk it through.
So that's the actual way to do it. And then also, you should see what supercars hold their value. That's another thing, because the McLaren I saw, it holds the value. So if you get the McLaren for under 150,000, a specific year, a specific model, it could hold its value. So pretty much a lot of cars, they depreciate a lot, right? Right off the parking lot. Yeah, right off the dealership, like the next year. After 3 to 4 years, it starts getting stagnant. So it doesn't decline a lot.
That's the point to buy.
And then when you get at around that point, if it's good mileage, a good spec, a good price, then you don't necessarily lose money.
You can hold your value.
It holds a value. Yeah, that's a lot of people don't know. They just think like so what he teaches also is that you could drive a supercar for the same price that you would drive a car that depreciates a lot, like a Nissan or a BMW or a Lexus. You would actually, because when you go and sell it, you're going to get your money back, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you keep your value on the car, the value on the car. Awesome. And I have another question for you. I mean, what's your outlook for your business in the next couple of years? You want to keep doing arbitrage? You want to expand into different business models? You want to grow in that same vertical? I mean, what's like your projections?
Yeah, so for my Amazon store, that's a good question, because I have like, I'm thinking about it too. For my Amazon store, I want to shift as much possible into wholesale. But my Amazon store, my goal is to have it completely automated and delegated. Right now, it's pretty automated and delegated, but I want to have it like 100%. Like I don't want to do anything. So my goal is first to like automate and delegate as much as possible with virtual assistants. I was actually in New Hampshire just now training our new employees. So I want to make sure the employees are trained correctly to work on all the orders we send them, the products we send them, they prep it correctly, ship it correctly, all that. So my first goal is to automate it and delegate it. I want to go more into wholesale, because then you could spend more money. I already built a relationship with different suppliers, and here's a tip on Amazon, because a lot of people like, they talk about wholesale and they teach wholesale, and they say like, oh, when you go open up an Amazon account, an account with a distributor wholesaler, tell them that you sell on Amazon, but that you provide value doing this, doing that. Like I don't do any of that. I just tell them that I'm a wholesaler. Like they're not gonna not open an account for you, because a lot of days wholesalers don't like Amazon sellers because they think they're very like new in the game. They don't know what they're doing. And it's true. A lot of Amazon sellers, when they first start, they suck. I sucked when I first started. I didn't know what a UPC was or barcode. So I want to go more into wholesale. Now, I'll also, for my fulfillment center, prep center, that I really want to expand a lot, because now I'm seeing e-commerce as, you know, everyone's selling online. Everyone's also buying online. So there's third-party sellers on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, TikTok Shop. I want to be able to fulfill their orders. So if I could be able to partner with a lot of people that are in e-commerce, like they have their own e-commerce groups, and I could be their fulfillment center for their groups, that's where I really want to maximize. So right now I'm doing partnerships with Nepedo, which is an Amazon software. It helps you find products. I'm doing a partnership with Divine, which is the largest reselling group in WAP in a Discord. And I'm doing other partnerships with different Amazon groups. So I want to be able to fulfill a lot of orders for a lot of e-commerce sellers. So for that, I see myself like that's like a 5 through 10-year plan, because just 45 minutes away from my fulfillment center, there's a 100,000 square foot warehouse fulfillment center that does around 150,000 units a day.
Wow.
A day.
That's huge volume.
Yeah. So, but they have the infrastructure, they have the space, they have the management. I'm not there yet. Like I first got to work with my small team, build them up, outgrow the space, make sure everything is run correctly. But that's what I see the potential the most in my fulfillment center.
Awesome. I see like you're trying like to eat up the chain, like to build up infrastructure so you can provide a service to like newcomers to the industry.
Yeah, our fulfillment center is 14,000 square feet. But the next one, I want to be able to buy land and construct a warehouse there. And then also construct like little strips where people could come in as tenants. Like, you know, they could build whatever they like. If they want to be a dentistry, T-Mobile, a small automotive shop, I want to build a strip and then get a loan on that land, do more construction there. But I want to have my own warehouse for my next warehouse.
For your next warehouse. Awesome. Not rent it out.
Nah, leasing to me is like throwing money away.
In that long term, it is, of course, because you're paying your
to the air.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Awesome. Any other piece of advice you want to give to the people listening to this podcast right now, or
advice in general?
Yeah.
I would say it's a good advice. It really depends like where you are in life, but I would say there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in what you're trying to accomplish, that don't believe or even understand like your goals. Those people, if you listen to them, that's going to mess up your life. So I always say this, like, be around the right people. And if you know those people aren't the right people, don't even associate yourself with them. And just bet on yourself, because there's a lot of times in business, like I come from Kaseya. It's an IT software company. There's literally geniuses that work there. When I tell you their IQ is like beyond like what super smart. But those people are missing one thing that will not let them go into business, which is called taking a risk. The moment they think about a risk, they're like, oh my God, that's risky. I'm going to lose it all, blah, blah, blah. As a business owner or entrepreneur, you have to be a risk taker. So
naturally.
You have to be. If not, you're not going to make money. So bet on yourself, be confident, and be around the right people. Be honest.
All right. Nick, thank you for coming.
Thank you, man.
Emprendedores latinos en Miami.